scheduled meeting of the Dublin Soil Services District Board of Directors. Presiding this evening is President Collins.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. Director Halkett.
Here.
Director Duarte.
Here.
Vice President Von Peter Leopold.
Here.
Here. Okay, so we have some special announcements this evening. We have the presentation of some awards to the recipients of the Tri-Valley Science and Engineering Fair winners. This year, for the first time, water and wastewater agencies from throughout Alameda County and Contra Costa County came together, pooled their resources, and created the Regional Award Excellence in Water Research. This is a special category in both Alameda and Contra Costa counties for the science and engineering fairs. The purpose of this award is to recognize outstanding science and engineering projects that make a contribution to the field of water, wastewater, and recycled water research. More than ever, we depend on science and engineering to create a sustainable water supply, protect public health, and protect our environment. And today's students are tomorrow's scientists and engineers who will take up the challenges we all leave behind. The district's laboratory supervisor, Raj Gumber, and the community services supervisor, Sue Stevenson, volunteered as judges this year for this special award category. 2 awards were granted at the junior level and 2 at the senior level in both county fairs. In the middle school category at the Alameda County Science and Engineering Fair, the winners of the Excellence in Water Research Award for 3rd place is a team that explored the use of dried banana peels and seaweed to filter bacteria in natural water resources, in this case, Lake Elizabeth. The students were seeking an inexpensive water filter for people in the third world countries, a noble endeavor. The name of the project is the Amazing Water Cleanser. The students who researched this project are Brittany Brunkhorst and Malika Panjuri, 6th graders from Fallon Middle School in Dublin, and their teacher is also here this evening, Karen Brown. Each student will receive $150, and their teacher will also receive a check for $100. So at this time, I'd like to invite Brittany and Malika to come up and give us a demonstration and a discussion on your project. Ladies, you can go to the podium. And I see you brought some visual aids.
So for our project this year, we first decided that we were going to do the science fair, and we thought of doing a water filter. At first, our idea was to experiment with different cloths, but then I was researching and I found this website that said that bananas and seaweed could take out more than 65% of metal ions in the water. Brittany and I wanted to experiment on that, and so we made this project. We went to Lake Elizabeth and we got water. Then we took Colyscan gel plates, which could actually show the different bacteria and coliforms in different colors. And what we did was we took nori, which is dried up seaweed which is edible, and we took banana peels. We put them in the oven, and we took them out, put it in a Ziploc bag, and we smashed it with a hammer. Then we put it in a blender, and it became a soft powder. We put that in cheesecloth, which hopefully wouldn't make any difference to our results. And we actually did 5 different tests: the water by itself, boiled water, the water through the cheesecloth, the water through the seaweed and the cheesecloth, and the water through the banana peels and the cheesecloth. So what happened was that hopefully we would get our results in 48 hours, which did happen, and the banana peels worked. It took out more than 80% of the E. coli in the water, but the seaweed unfortunately did not work. It actually got more bacteria than it was supposed to. And One problem that arose from this project was that the water through the cheesecloth had more bacteria than the water itself. So we thought, in case we're doing further experimentation, to test the cheesecloth one more time to see if it had any other bacteria or we handled it incorrectly.
One of the reasons we did this was because one of the reasons we did this project was because people in, say, Africa would have to walk a couple miles just to get water from a well when there was a river right over close to where they lived. And so it would just have been easier to get a water filter so that they can use the water filter to filter out the water and drink it without having to go through any hardships or troubles to go to the well and get water.
Yep. Excellent. Good job. Well done. Yep. Okay, so at this time we're going to go ahead and give out your awards. Checks. You guys did a great presentation. Very, very good. So we'll stand right here. We'll bring the board. Good job. Good speaker. Yeah, we'll stand around there. Give this to you. You. And I'll give this to Brittany. Check. So well done. Good team. Good teamwork, you guys. We'll take a picture. So now you get to work on next year's project, right? And then maybe patent it someday. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Keep it up. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dan will need 2 banana peels.
Yeah. Sustainable project. Okay, moving right along. Thank you, ladies and families. Moving on to public comment. Is there any public comment at this time? Okay, next reports. Reports by the general manager and staff.
Yes, President Benson, members of the board, I'm not sure I can top that. That was good. I always enjoy that. That's one of my favorite meetings of the year when they have a chance
Such
to
an
talk
engineer.
about it. Yeah, good stuff.
The engineer coming out.
Anyways, a few things to report for you. The period for nominations for the Aqua Region 5 Board of Directors is open. I believe you've previously received correspondence from Nancy about that. If you're interested in being nominated for the Region 5 Board of Directors, if you could let us know, please, because it takes board action to nominate you. I happen to be on the nominating committee, so you might have an inside track if you were so inclined. Secondly, the Alameda County Special Districts Association is having their membership meeting for May tomorrow morning at the offices of Stop Waste in Oakland. My schedule at this time of the year between budgets and strategic planning will not allow me to attend, but if anybody else is planning to attend, please enjoy yourself. And as I think Dawn, you and I talked, it can be a little difficult to find if you don't know where you're going. So if anybody doesn't know where they're going, let me know.
Yeah, let me know too, because I'm literally right down the street, so I'll walk. I'll be going and walking.
Okay, thank you. Tonight, you'll notice a new face at the staff side of the table over here. Dorothy Ottoman is sitting in for Dave Rico. Dave is traveling in water reuse business. Speaking of Aqua, the Aqua Conference is ongoing currently and will run through Friday in Sacramento. Pat Howard is at the Aqua Conference today as he's a member of their Energy Committee, and I think President Benson will be going, and I think Sue Stevenson is also at the conference, so DSRSD is well represented at that conference. There has been no correspondence to and from the board since our last board meeting, and I would note on the committee reports, there's 2 JPAs that are noticed. Of course, the minutes for those always take a little longer to get before you, but the other committee reports are there. If any of those JPA members wanted to mention anything, it certainly would be appropriate to do so. That's all I have tonight.
Okay, good. Next, event calendar. This is correspondence to the board. Committee reports. Any committee reports? No? Okay. Any agenda management? On to approval of the minutes. Okay, Georgine.
Second.
I hear a second. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. And consent calendar. Do I hear a motion? Or any discussion? Do I hear a motion? Okay.
I'll second it.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, moving on to board business 9A. Review marketing material and authorize the general manager to execute an agreement with HomeServe USA Corporation.
President Benson and members of the board, at your April 2nd meeting, we had presented the contract for approval. At that time, there were questions that came up about what the marketing materials would be, and so Vicki Goldman, the customer service supervisor, is here tonight, as well as the representative from HomeServe. The marketing materials have been provided to you in the board packet, and either Vicki or the gentleman from HomeServe would be happy to answer any questions that you have.
I do have one question. And I noticed that it says to our value on the item where it says the card to our valued customers, it doesn't say HomeServe, it says insurance protection plans from Home Emergency Insurance Solutions. So is that different? Is that, so it's a little confused.
Okay.
Come on up.
Legal Great to see you guys again. Home Emergency Solutions, as I think we've probably discussed in the past, California is an insurance state, and we have to offer these programs as an insurance product, and we are not permitted to use HomeServe USA, so our name under the insurance business is Home Emergency Solutions.
Okay.
That's just for the purpose of your California license.
That's correct.
Because if you look at it on the board, I mean, for anybody in the public, they'll see HomeServe USA, but yet they're getting something from Home Emergency. So there's got to be some sort of, should it not be connected, or?
It should be connected.
Okay.
It's just, it's one of the peculiarities of offering these types of programs in California.
So we can't note HomeServe USA anywhere on this, is that correct?
You can,
Okay.
but when the offer is made to a consumer to buy an insurance product, it has to note the name of Home Emergency Solutions.
Because this is and then the company itself is out of Pennsylvania, correct?
Connecticut.
Connecticut, that's correct. Okay. All right, any other questions?
Just a comment, right? So these, I'm looking at the postcard, that's the easiest spot. So I noticed it's going out under only our logo. I naively thought it would go out under a joint logo. I don't see. If I was receiving this card, I would think it's more from DSRSD. I wouldn't think it was from HomeServe.
So we can certainly do it however you guys want to do it. It's typically when those things go, when the initial postcard goes out, it goes out, if the customers are going to look at it a lot, they're going to read it, it comes out under your logo. If it comes out under our logo as well, there may be some confusion along with it, but it's certainly up to you guys if that's how you guys want to go out under both logos.
No, I mean,
I think so too.
well, I mean, confusion is the operative word.
Right.
The way these programs, this was not something cynical, but The idea, I think, from a marketing perspective, is you're trying to couple the offering as tightly to the DSRSD marks as possible. Push that boundary as far as you can.
And I think it's really, again, you guys can. The whole process is we try and make it as tightly controlled as possible, so that you guys can control the message, you can control however you want it to look, smell, and feel. I think when we've done similar programs in both Contra Costa Water District and Alameda Water District, they found a lot of value in when the postcard went out with just the Alameda logo and just the Contra Costa Water District logo, as well as any of the subsequent education materials that we sent out to their customers. So,
what's your penetration rate for Contra Costa?
It's about 10% right now. It's not high. We haven't done a lot of mailings with them. Some of our other programs, in fact, we just launched a program with Des Moines Waterworks, where our very first mailing with them, we've already got 25% of their customers enrolled in the program.
Well, like Alameda, I mean, for a similar size district to ours.
Alameda is slightly higher, but again, I think Alameda's been operational for about a year. They're about 12 to 13%.
That's normal.
I would say it's with most of these programs, we'll see somewhere in the 25 to 35% penetration rates, and that's typically, they tend to mature at about year 3, 4 or so.
And the intent here is to roll out water only first and do sewer later?
Normally with these programs, we try and lead with water, and then if a customer gets the water service line program, a lot of times then we may also offer them the sewer line protection program as well. In fact, with Contra Costa, I think one of the issues there was they only decided to offer water. It's only because just more recently, particularly within the last 6 months, a lot of their customers have been asking for sewer line protection as well.
I mean, sewer would be, sewer laterals more common and more expensive, so.
Right. No, so it's our preference to offer both products.
But to start with water?
It's up to you.
Because I noticed that one was, where was it?
The postcard says both.
Yeah, the postcard says both.
Yeah, I think there's some generic.
Right.
Just the standard version.
Sorry, we actually did ask them to, on the postcard, let people know the responsibilities for both of those products. So then when they receive the mailer, if they were interested in pursuing the other insurance, they could certainly ask the question.
On that point, not to belabor it, but from CSRMA's perspective, CSRMA being our insurance provider, one of the best practices that we're obligated to do is regularly inform our customers about the ownership responsibilities of the water and sewer lines. We've done that periodically through direct mailers to our customers. I think it's something about several years ago from engineering. So we feel this kind of notice has value in protecting us against future claims that if there were an overflow that was caused by a blockage on the customer's property or water line, right? Very often, knowledge of the ownership is important as to how the case is resolved.
And then I noticed on the Q&A on the sewer, you covered sewer to the property line, not to the main?
It depends on what the customer's responsibility is. So
in our jurisdiction is to the main.
It's to the main. So in that instance, yes, we would.
Oh, okay, so this Q&A is not specific to the policy you would offer.
That's correct.
In this jurisdiction,
That's correct. So in that instance, then we would amend what the diagram would show.
Yeah. So the diagram would change and the response of the question would change.
Yes, I actually,
It's the lower lateral.
Yeah.
That's the real item around here.
Yeah.
then it's $7.99 for sewer and $4.95 for water. And so if they put that together, that's what, $12 a month or $13 a month? $12 bucks. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think some of these materials just look like it's like we're putting this on.
Well, that's the intent.
I have no trouble with that whatsoever, because I think, in my opinion, since day one, we've been hanging everybody out to dry. Most people don't know they're responsible. I think we have a big problem already with the sewer laterals especially, because I think they're cracked and blown into and everything else.
Right, but this, I agree. As an educational tool, this has some use. This, at 10 to 20, 25% penetration rate, this doesn't solve that problem.
No, but it's I think in this day and age, we can't look for 100% solutions. They're not possible anymore financially for most people. I think we can look at making dents and things, and that's about the best.
Well, my point is, even at a above average penetration rate of 25%, the odds are that 3 out of 4 people that have a sewer lateral go are still going to be here in the boardroom saying, "Wow, I didn't know it was my responsibility to, for the $14,000 repair."
Oh, I agree.
So it's a possible alternative that we could look at down the road or sooner rather than later is, in fact, we just got back from another water district or sewer district where the lower lateral was a big issue. And they talked about doing some type of an opt-out program where that covered just the lower lateral piece, which basically provided blanket insurance protection to all the residents in there. Now, having done this for a long time now, I will say though that while opt-out programs are very good, and I think to your point, maybe 25 to 35% isn't high or high enough. The flip side is, if you want to get it higher, I think more of the Dublin standalone branding will get those higher levels of achievement. But if you want to go completely the other way, is if you do an opt-out program and make it mandatory for all residents to do things like that, the cost goes down substantially, but you always get a certain percentage of people that don't like to be told to do anything. And
We know that well.
yeah. So again, I think it's up to you how you want to handle this. I think opt-in program. This is me personally. I think opt-in programs, letting people know their responsibility and the way to potentially mitigate those high costs is a very effective way of doing it. And then it's up to the customer to decide whether or not they want to participate or not.
Also, what is covered by your homeowner's policy?
You mean under
The sewer and water repair is not covered?
That's correct.
Okay. Any other questions, Ed? Director?
Well, I think to his point, the fact that our logo on there is going to have an impact, because this is going out under our blessing, if you will. And I don't view that as necessarily as a negative. I think that it would be good, I think, if you added to the company logo to associate with it. But I agree with your comment that this legitimizes at least the presentation. And the cover letter here that describes what we're sending them, or what you're sending them, simply says that this is optional, we're passing it along to you. Now, I could agree more that there will always be that percentage that don't read it, or if they read it, they don't tend to process it. It's going to happen. I don't view the district logo as being negative.
Are they also going to put a link on the website? Is our website going to link to theirs as well? Because people are going to go to DSRSDSRSplans.com and say, so will we have a look and feel on
Oh, sure.
that side as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. In fact, with Des Moines, in the first 2 weeks of, when we send out the postcard, which is what we normally do, with a link to the website, we had 3,000 people who enrolled in the first week just by linking through to the website.
For me, it's just nice to have your logo on there too as a partnership, because I think it's a service that we're all for.
How many residential water customers do we have?
I don't know about Vicky would know perhaps, but we have just over 19,000
Yeah.
customers. Residential.
About 15,000, right?
I mean, it's just, to me, it's like, I've seen programs like this in other water agencies, and we get calls a lot, like, are we endorsing it? Obviously, we're endorsing this, so that gives us a lot of credibility, because I know that there are programs out there that have that, but, just a partnership is a partnership with all of them.
And I would hope that our customers would see it as our attempt to assist them in dealing with it should it happen. I mean, I think we're looking out for them by doing this.
About a year ago, we did some market research that showed that 60%, and this is to 5,000 people, not just our customers, but customers all throughout the U.S., 60% of the customers that even didn't enroll in the program thought it was appropriate that their water and wastewater utility inform them that these types of programs are out there.
Okay. Any other questions?
I'm just thinking, I mean, so basically 20,000 up front to start the program and 10% ready customer, right?
That's correct.
I'm just blowing my head whether that's a fair part. You know, so if you get 25% penetration, which would be phenomenal, you're looking at 300 grand, 325 grand a year out of this district. Seems to be quite a bargain for 20,000. I'm just making sure I'm not selling myself short here. I mean, after all, I mean, this is a business transaction. This is, us boiling it down, peeling away the feel-good aspects of it. We're selling our customer list and our marks, our credibility to somebody's market or product to our customers. And with our logo on every piece of thing, and one sample coming from somebody in the district, if there's not an explicit endorsement, there's certainly a very, very heavy implicit endorsement. So it seems to be quite a bargain.
And that's, from our standpoint, it's pretty standard what we're paying. In fact, I'd say the upfront money is probably a little bit more on the high side, to be honest with you. Typically, it's usually a little bit less, and I think the commission is, if you ask the folks at Alameda or Contra Costa to share, I'm sure they'd share. Contra Costa is being 10%, and it's on the bill, and they have 50,000 households. So, from their standpoint, it's you're getting as good, if not a better deal than what Contra Costa got. On the flip side, from our standpoint, marketing these programs, the time and effort to start these, we don't start earning a rate of return until about the third year of the program, because typically what will happen, in addition to the marketing expense and the program administration expense from our side, we also get, in the first 2 years, we probably get a higher incidence of claims, because you have all the self-selectors out there. We're not out there doing inspections or doing anything else in the beginning. So in the first 2 years, we're going to get all the people that have had issues making claims.
I'm done.
Okay, anything else?
It looks like a bigger commission.
I just want it all on the table.
That's all right.
Doing water.
That's all right.
I got $5 in my
Okay.
At this point, we're just doing water.
The initial proposal is that, yes, that the postcard would mention responsibility for both services, and then the water mailer would go out first. And I don't know what the plan is as far as when, is there some idea?
If somebody
when?
contacted you and wanted
Sewer.
Sewer yourself, obviously.
Only if you guys permitted us to do that. We don't, again, the product configuration and whatever we sell is dependent on what you authorize us to offer to the consumer.
Because our mailing, we're going to only target water customers versus like in San Ramon, there's just sewer customers.
Doherty Valley.
Or Doherty Valley, but in South San Ramon, South San Ramon.
Again, I think that we can structure that
Yeah.
any way that the board would like that to be structured. Maybe you want to say anything on that point? One of the options that we were considering, and I think that that is provided to you, was that we wanted to put the water option out there, but reference the sewer. And I believe that there's a comment in one of the mailers that talks about if you have questions about sewer, here's our phone number, here's the website, contact us on the website. So we didn't want to. What we wanted to avoid was doing a mailer that the first mailing that went out there would offer both and get that price point up so high that people would look at the bottom line and not even read the material. And their experience has been that once it goes over that $10 price point, you lose people right away. But that if people will opt into the water and see that this is good, it's a positive thing, then adding the sewer later they feel better about it.
Well, because sewer, we don't do sewer in Doherty Valley, is that right?
If I could clarify, the matter before you is to approve the agreement. The agreement allows both water and wastewater services. If what we're talking about is how we're going and at what point we're going to offer host or to offer water and wastewater, I think Vicki's point is appropriate. I don't want you to think that we will be coming back to the board, at least as proposed in the resolution, to ask you for approval to offer wastewater services. The agreement before you is to offer both.
So that means we could go on the website and get both if we chose.
Yes.
Also, I would recommend, only because we've had this happen where I've worked, is send a courtesy copy to the City of Pleasanton, Contra Costa, and to East Bay Mud, so they're aware that this is going on, because customers will in those mixed areas might get a little confused.
I've talked to some of those people already because they were references for HomeServe. And our intention was also to contact the City of Dublin and San Ramon and let them know that this product would be out there in case they don't receive phone calls as well.
Okay, so you've talked to people in East Bay Mud.
Not East Bay Mud, Contra Costa County and Alameda.
Because we will be handling, so if you need assistance there, I can give you contact, since that's our department. Okay.
Can you provide a reference for clarity to go back into East Bay?
Oh, that's a different hat.
Anything else from you?
No, I think that's fine. Anything else? Okay. So do I hear a motion?
I'll move that we adopt the resolution and the recommendation of staff.
To execute an agreement with HomeServe?
Yes.
Okay, do I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 3-1. And we'll move on to agenda item 9B. 9B is receive a presentation for a new district logo design.
Good evening, President Benson. Back on March 12th, the board gave staff a thumbs up to create a new logo for the district. And so at that meeting, they also asked staff to bring back 3 to 5 possible logo designs for consideration. And at that meeting, Joyce Chang also talked a little bit about taglines. So tonight, Joyce is here. She has 4 different logo designs for consideration. She's interested in your feedback. She's also going to talk to you about some taglines that staff has come up with. Ready for your presentation?
Thank you, Mary. What I want to do is go over these designs and give you the reasons and the logic behind the designs and why I created them. I've done them in both variations of 2 and 3 colors. 2 colors being more economical rather than 2, so I wanted to give you that option. This first one here, the dot represents DSRSD. That's the starting point of water, at least in this area. And so anyway, it shows the water drop coming out, and it's like embracing, it's moving, and it's embracing the wastewater, and in turn then it becomes recycled water. So it's kind of an organic shape. It's very modern. It's unlike other water agency logos. This idea shows the ripples or water rates, and they represent the 3 different kinds of water. And it shows they come from the same source, and they may cross over, look over, and they will return to that same pool that they came from. This idea is the water comes from your faucet, and as you use it, it enters the drain, and you see the swirl of the drain, and then that eventually becomes wastewater, and then moves on becoming recycled water. And in here we have the concept of the sewer pipe. I forgot to mention that on concept 1. The logo on the right is contained within a sewer pipe. So using that circular image to kind of give that connotation. This one is the 3 swirls, and the outer swirl represents the pipe. It kind of contains it, but it shows the motion of the water as it's swirling along the turbulence as it's converting from potable water to wastewater and again to recycled water. So this one shows a lot of motion. So in review, we've got these 4 different options here. And maybe do we want to hold the discussion to the very end, or should we do all the reviews now?
Any questions?
Joyce, do you want to mention, Joyce, do you want to mention about one of them has 3 colors versus some of the others that are more 2 colors?
Yeah, this one's got 3 colors that adds a little more depth to it, and it does symbolize the 3 different kinds of water. In this instance, I've used white, but sometimes when you're doing like the decals on the clothing, it could either be applied directly to the clothing, in which case the clothing color, the shirt was light blue, unless I used a white thread on that, that would come through as light blue. So there are some advantages to using 3 colors in that it's more standardized, it's more predictable, but again, there's a higher cost to that. And this one is just a gradation of blue, a lighter blue to a darker blue and white. Here I've tried to use white as the potable water, the green is the wastewater, and then the purple blue is the recycled water.
So all of these you present a couple. Is it different treatments to use in different places, or?
No, we need to pick one to be consistent. Yeah, and it's like these colors aren't nailed down. It's just to kind of give you a vague idea of how they might be used. So right now, are you seeing anything that you like out of these, or any comments on them?
They're definitely modern.
Well, probably, I mean, I guess my bird is the simplest. I'm drawn to 3 of them all because that's the least abstract.
I too am drawn to
And I kind of like 3 in the circle, you know, because if you go back to number 3, you had a couple. I think I like the circles better than the squares for almost all of them. Just, I agree. Because I think it fits better, you know, it seems like it would work better in more places. You know, and patch on a uniform or not quite sure how you do it on a big sign, but that's a design problem.
I'm also thinking of ink, like how, I don't know why I think that, but And this is more, I think it's more, it looks more ecology friendly, eco-friendly.
I'm thinking that because of the colors or?
Yeah, the colors, and the water drop. But the circular motion, I don't know if people would get that. That's the only, it's like it's going down the drain. But the others, I think 3 is really,
It's like judging an art contest.
yeah.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and it's hard to, I would assume, not speaking for everyone else, but for us as a board to pick something that we personally like or dislike. Myself, number 2 is a no. But I agree with Rich on number 3. I don't think that swirl accomplishes its goal in the lower left.
You mean the number 3 swirl or?
The number 3 swirl.
Okay. Right.
And I too would prefer a circular envelope.
Process-wise, we're just kicking around. I mean, what's our goal?
Tonight, she was just presenting 4 designs for possible consideration, but this is your logo, and so we are here to get the board's feedback. So if you said, hey, we really like the water drop idea, but we want it in a squirrel, a square, or something, you tell us what you like, and then she will come back. We can come back as many times as necessary with other designs. Or if you want to say we definitely don't like number 2 or number 4, but tweak number 1 and 3. I mean, she's a graphic designer, and this was her first shot at trying to give you some ideas and kind of the reasons behind the ideas.
Yeah. No.
And so it's hard to do it, but she's asking you to look at the design sort of absent of the color, because we can change the colors. So probably the design is probably the first thing. What are the elements, so that she can go back and then she can also then try the different colors. Or if you definitely have settled in on a particular colors tonight, then she will go back and try to use those colors in future designs. She also wants to kind of get into and talk about some taglines that are part of the logo that we would be using.
Wanting to narrow down, see which direction you want to head in.
So Joyce, maybe you kind of go ahead and show them some of the taglines so they're kind of thinking about this, and then you kind of bring them back.
Okay. This is just some applications. Anyway, on screen are some examples of pretty successful taglines. And the idea is that you want to keep them short. You want them hopefully to be a call to action. You would like them to be something maybe that might be able to include your mission, or benefits of your service, or how you differ from your peers. Or in our case, I think we need to let our customers know what our 3 services are. That's also one of the things that's not clearly evident by our name. So we have a brainstorming session, and also we had some very enthusiastic contributions from the employees. So we have lots of taglines here, and I did a sample down on the bottom right here, showing you the length of tagline number 1 and tagline number 2. So tagline number 1 is like roughly 33 characters and spaces, and number 2 is 40 for us. So we're getting a little too long there. You can see it's starting to poke out quite a ways. And when you think about the tagline, and it has to fit on the business card, you've got about an inch and a half of space, so it's not enough room to do anything that's very long.
Or visible, because we just did a 90th at the East Bay Med, and we have a little tagline under there. It's like 5 words.
Yeah. So even shorter than number 1 would be better, because that would allow us to have larger type and be a little more legible. But the idea is, which one do you think conveys what we do?
Water cube, I like that.
Yeah, that is cute. Water cubed.
Steve, I work on a list of start to narrow
a big list. If there's any ones you definitely come to consensus that you don't want, that would be helpful this evening. But we also realize you have not had an awful lot of time to look at it and study it. So tonight it's a presentation. Would you like us to give us a chance to kind of weigh in and give feedback back to the staff?
Are these also from the session that we did? Any of those come through?
I believe these are all the taglines that came up from the board as well as from the employees.
Yeah, I might suggest one way to start screening this, as Joyce pointed out, with those two sample logos on the bottom. You know, the long version versus the short version. Joyce, I think you said it was about 35 characters or something like that. You know, you might kind of eyeball the ones that are about that length, just for presentation purposes, and focus on those. And if there was some content from some of the longer ones you like, well, tell us that, maybe we can shorten those.
You drew like an imaginary line behind number 1, and just drew it down. That's like, you don't want to be any longer than that. Shorter's okay.
I like the value every drop portion of number 25.
We looked at that, we thought it was good, but we were thinking that was really good for water conservation.
Because recycled water is really water conservation too. Water cubes, we value every drop. But then people don't know. Yeah,
it doesn't come to mind exactly. I think for all of us, I thought that was very good. It's like a great idea, but I think maybe the general public might not understand.
The value of your drop, I think is good.
Which one is that?
That's the last portion of the number 25. It says save and value every drop, but if you just do value every drop, it's really consistent with water, recycled water and sewer. That's just my thought. 5 cents.
Especially if it's coupled with some version of the 3, was a drop on that.
Right.
Logo.
Something with purple. Right. But it really encompasses everything that I would think that we do.
So,
but I like number 3. I like your, number 3 was what I really liked. I think the abstract on number 1 is just, people may not get that. And then the other 2 are, I mean, this is just my opinion.
if I could, am I starting to hear the board say to focus on the design with the water drop? Lost exactly which one that is. I think it's number 3, but with the tagline of value every drop, and have Joyce bring that back to the future meeting so you can see what it would look like. Is there, and make us happy, but if there's 2 or 3 other taglines you want us to kind of play around with, we'll also. Should I stop while I'm ahead?
Stop. That's what I was saying. And the treatment, the normal treatment would be the somewhat abstract logo with the name of the organization spelled out in the tagline. Right, so that would, that makes the somewhat abstract logo feel better.
Sure, yeah.
Not by itself.
It explains it more clearly if you were doing the tagline.
My only place I see the abstract logo by itself is if you did a Google search.
Yeah, like a bug, yeah.
Little favicon, that's why we need to keep it simple so that you can see somebody comes right over to that phone.
That's a nice logo too, water is what we do.
Yeah, but you know what? That doesn't say it to people out in the public. They just think of water then, because they don't think of wastewater as water. We still haven't indoctrinated them enough.
You know, the save and value every drop, you're right, President. I mean, that connotes,
It just really summarizes the whole
connotes
thing.
economy.
If you just take it back, yeah, take everything after the dash.
No,
Just-
not even the save.
Yeah.
Just
Well, that's
value
the
every
point.
drop. Value every drop. 3 words. Because he's valuing every,
But I do like number one. I mean, that's very clear.
Yeah, I could go as far as, I mean, I would want, we're an engineering-driven organization in many ways, and so, I can see us having a really wonkish, absolutely precise tagline that sounds like an engineer wrote it. I love engineers, by the way. So, something like managing your water, wastewater, recycled water is very precise, but it's not a tagline. So I would, as we...
I also like number 17. That says it too, managing the water cycle.
managing the water cycle. We can't see that one. But a tagline is supposed to be really crisp, really, it's like 3 to 4 words, and that's it.
And I'm wondering if, like on 25, when we say value every drop, maybe do we need to say water? Because people don't know what we do, what drops are we valuing? So, in addition,
Yeah, because our company doesn't really explain water.
never really needs to say it.
Kind of like these big muddy water. That's like it all the time.
So we're looking at
Anything else?
1, 17, and half of 25?
Anything else, you're the creative type, so.
Yeah, anything else?
I think the direction, at least for me, is to, it doesn't need to be precisely engineered. I'm very happy with the ones that are more abstract. The taglines that are punchier.
Yeah.
Director Dory, you mentioned that on logos and things, I just need to know what needs to be changed or adjusted. You said this one wasn't working for you, or?
I don't know that the average person is going to associate that with the
Sewer.
the drain.
Is that pointing in the right direction?
Depends on what part of the world you're in.
Well, we're in the northern hemisphere, so in the northern
I
hemisphere.
just wanted to ask the same thing.
You're really getting precise.
Well, if we wanted them to know that it was a drain, it would help if it was going the way they normally see a drain go.
Okay, I'll check on that. Okay. So,
Yeah.
And the purple, I would want more purple. If that's going to be representative of the recycled water, it needs to be more purple.
We didn't want to use brown for wastewater for obvious purposes. We suggested green waste,
Yeah.
for wastewater.
Sustainability.
Why?
Yeah. Oh, well, it's not composted.
Brown would definitely say it better.
Better than
Yeah.
Brown it down.
Brown and purple. Oh, wonderful.
Okay, so anyway, I guess I will come back in another month or so with some adjustments to the taglines, maybe some variations on that, and some adjustments to the logo. Number 3, I guess, is the selection.
You know what?
Did I hear that you were maybe open to number 4 if the tagline was a little more specific, like using number 1?
I just don't, for me, I don't know if people would get that.
it.
It's
Looks
high.
good in the pickup.
I mean, it's pretty, but I don't know if they'd associate it with water or the
Yeah,
pipe, or it's too
drop is-
abstract for that.
Yeah, the drop is much more representative of water.
Also, I have one quick question. On it says water, number 23. If we did water, value every drop, we could almost, that's just another thought, to add water in. And then we have 4 words and it's water.
But then, again, we aren't saying the other things we do. So many people do not, because of our name, do not have a clue of what we do. What is the services district?
Scott Haggerty said today, he goes, DSRSD, you can go backwards and forwards.
Yeah, 17 does that.
17 covers managing the water cycle.
That's Joe Cavello, by the way.
Well, it's was just funny, it was brought up today. I was like, yeah, that's right. So yeah, good job. Thank you.
Okay, I'll be back. Joyce will be
Does
back.
that help you? Is there anything else you need from us?
No, that's good. It gives me some direction.
Okay. Put your magic
Got
to
enough
it.
mixed messages.
Yeah. Actually, it's amazing that we sort of all
Thank
like
you.
the same one.
I know. Okay, so now we're on to number 9C, review the proposed goals for fourth edition of the district's 5-year strategic plan, FY14, FY18.
Yes, President Benson and members of the board. You know, we've been working on our strategic plan, which is the fourth edition to the plans, since I think I started talking to each of you individually over the holidays about things that were important to you. We've gotten through, we haven't approved it, but I think we've had very good discussions on the district's mission, the district vision statement, things that are of value to the district. And then the past 4 to 5 weeks, we worked with each committee to formulate specific goals underneath each of the 7 different categories. Those goals would be the things that we hope to achieve with the strategic plan over its 5-year course. There's another level of the strategic plan that we're in progress on right now and that you'll see as committees next week, and that's the work plan. That's the to-do list. The goals are things that you want us to achieve. The work plan that you'll see next week are things that, our to-do list to achieve each of those goals. I'm telling you that so that you're aware that there's another step beyond this in detail. But more importantly, the board individually collectively have told us through this discussion, hey, we'd like to see this or we'd like to see that. Some of those things, at least staff felt, were more of the to-do list items, so we're kind of moved them down into the work plan and put them underneath each strategic goal. I think I'm prepared to sort of explain where some of those are right now, but I just want to let you know that we haven't lost any of your ideas. They're still at play down at different levels in the strategic plan. So what we're hoping to accomplish today is to go through these goals. A committee has reviewed all the different goals. Each of your committees did that in April. And to see if those resonate collectively with the full board. If they do, I think we're pretty much settled in on the goals, and then we'll be talking about the work plan as well as some of the costs associated with these, with the work plan items, starting next week with the committees. I don't know how you want me to go through this. You can, you've had the material that I have up on the screen in the board agenda packet. If you wanted to hone in on one thing that jumped out at one of you and say, hey, let's talk about that, we'll just quickly do it. If you wanted to kind of go through goal by goal and just, I can pull up goal 1, element number 1, financial planning, you can look at all of those. I'll go through it as much detail or as little detail as you want. So I'm sort of here for you to facilitate the discussion. This really is things that you're setting out for us for the mission of the district for the next 5 years. So.
Okay. Should we just start from the table 1 and just go through and see if everybody's okay with that?
Sure.
Table 1, which is strategic financial planning.
Can I make a suggestion? Sure. The ones that are existing, in theory, everyone except Ed has reviewed those before. So maybe we could just talk about the modifieds.
Or the new ones.
Or the new ones.
Yeah. Okay. Does that work for you? Do you have any questions? Ed? Director Duarte? Okay, so we'll go with table number 1, financial planning. 1.4.
Thank you, Dawn. No, that's okay. I was going to point out the ones that were not the existing ones. That was modified a little bit to hone in on the AA credit. That was basically the change there.
Someone was trying to follow this from the telecast. This would be attachment 2.
Attachment 2 to S&R, strategic goals and descriptions. So we're on table 1. So 1.4 is actively managed debt and minimize future. Modified as well as 1.6, maintain adequate reserves. That's also modified.
The significance on the change on number 1.6 was, you recall the last strategic plan was done in a different economic time when the district was not goal that said something to the effect of grow adequate reserves. I think, as you'll see with the budget preparation that you'll start receiving next week, I think we have reserves that now meet or are very, very close to your policy level targets for all our funds. So the key change here is to maintain that situation and to change it.
Okay. Any questions? All right, moving on to table 2, infrastructure element. Starting with 2.1, asset management program, that's a modified.
Would you like me to comment on what was changed here? The asset management before it was essentially, these are my words, pull the asset management program up by its bootstraps. Now we have an active asset management program. We need to do more. We need to push it further. So this just reflects we're beyond the startup phase, and we're trying to extend the asset management to more aspects of the district's business. And to also, and to the Finance Committee's point, to start using data from asset management, not only for maintaining facilities, but also use it for financial planning purposes. Condition assessments. Do we need to replace this asset next year, 5 years, or 10 years down the road?
Next one is 2.2, key capital improvement projects.
That one was changed simply because, over the course of a couple or 3 years, the mix of capital projects change.
And 2.3, facility master plans.
Same issue, and we also are putting in as a work plan item there. We feel it's time to take another look at our biosolids master plan as well as our wastewater treatment master plan, both of which are getting a little bit long in the tooth beyond the 7 to 10 year time frame.
Okay, and 2.4, emergency preparedness and security.
That one was,
That's maintained readiness.
Maintained readiness.
That one's listed as mission critical.
Yeah, that one was modified. That one was modified because we separately broke out safety into its own goal, which happens to be down in element number 4, which is personnel goal.
And then the last one is 2.5, information technology and SCADA. That's a brand new one.
That's right. That was actually a consolidation of goals that appeared in several places. We've our IT system, we talk about water, wastewater, and recycled water as our infrastructure. Our IT is very much infrastructure as well, when you understand the computers and what's behind it and how the SCADA has. So this was a consolidation of goals that were in several places that was consolidated and moved into infrastructure.
I think you actually need to try some stuff up a level.
Yeah,
we had all over the place.
Okay. Next is table 2.2-3, resource management element. Modified as 3.2.1, diversified biosolids management, which we just talked about.
I think we skipped over 3.1.1.
Oh, sorry. Table 3.1, resource management element. 3.1.1, provide an adequate water supply. That was modified.
And the modification there was largely an issue that Director Helping has been passionate about, which is looking at a plan B for the districts and therefore the valley's water supply in light of a lot of the uncertainties in the Delta, moving into the sort of using local assets, more aggressive use of recycled water, things like rainwater capture, rainwater systems, etc. So that's what was incorporated there. How exactly we do that, of course, is the hard get.
Yes.
But that's what that whole system.
That's a very long term. Okay. 3.1.3, improve water quality. That's also a modification.
And this came out of discussion with the board where he would really like us to dust off some of the work we did about 6 or 8 years ago regarding improving the water quality. Now, of course, Zone 7 has made put in some facilities that are improving the water quality, but you wanted us to look at that and dust it off and see if there's anything that we can do as a district to start improving water quality. Again, what exactly is the outcome of that is to be determined. That's a process we'll go through. But that was sort of the change in there, was to sort of dust off some of the work we've done before and bring it out and revisit it.
Okay, so moving right along to Table 3-2 now, resource management element, 3.2.1 diversified biosolids.
And that is and again, that's a little bit of a parallel goal to the one in the master plan, but again, looking at ways to diversify our biosolids disposal, as well as our management. We don't have sludge dewatering facilities, we only have one place to dispose of our biosolids. California regulations are changing all the time, so we really need to sort of get serious over the next 5 years, I believe, and come up with at least a plan for biosolids disposal diversification.
Okay. And then we have 3.2.2, fully developed wet weather disposal capacity.
That was modified. The last time there was in a plan was to acquire the permit to allow us to discharge to Elmo Creek under wet weather conditions. Of course, we were successful in obtaining that. We need to now build a few facilities to get water from point A to point B in accordance with that permit. That's the nature of the modification.
Okay, and then 3.2.3, nurture good neighbor relations.
And that's a kind of a consolidation goal. Again, this was in several places. It talked about odor, it talked about landscaping, it talked about aesthetics. I don't think we're really changing anything in any significant way. We're still making a commitment to be a good neighbor to the folks that live around our wastewater treatment plant. It was really a consolidation to try to bring that all into one place.
Okay, and 3.2.4, address issues of emerging concern and unresolved local issues.
Yeah, this is probably one of the more important longer-term issues I think the wastewater industry is going to face. In the Bay Area in particular, the need for nitrogen and phosphorus removal in the Bay and estuary environment, as well as the Delta, is becoming important. The district, matter of fact, Sacramento is obligated to remove nitrogen now with the newest permit. The regional board is looking at nitrogen removal requirements for Delta Diablo and Central Sand. Very likely we're going to have nitrogen requirements for the South Bay as well, in which case we'll get pulled into that. Those are some of the emerging issues. The mercury, the pharmaceuticals, all of those things, just to be staying on top of those. I'd like to make one other comment. I had an interesting conversation with our staff a few days ago, and they asked me, well, what's over the horizon at DSRSD, beyond the 5-year plan? They go, well, we're not going to have wastewater treatment plants anymore. I go, what? They go, no, we're not going to have a wastewater treatment plant. We're going to have a resource recovery facility. And, that's certainly an emerging issue. We're taking material from the community and using the resource value, whether it be energy or recycled water or nitrogen or phosphorus.
It's all going to get utilized.
Just to get off the subject a little bit, at CASA, that is absolutely number one thing to be doing right now, is to change the focus of the population so that they recognize that we're a resource recovery agency and not a water and wastewater agency.
That'd be an interesting idea if Joyce was still here.
Yeah, for the tagline. Resource recovery of all water. The evolution. Okay, moving right along to table 3.3, resource management element, recycled water sub-element. So let's see, those are all existing. So
those are all existing. Nothing has really changed. Some of the work plan tasks have moved a little further into the future. We're making business others and all of those.
Okay, table 4, personnel organizational element. 4.1, ensure effective workplace succession.
Yes, and as you
We've already
know,
started that one.
Yeah, we've already started that one. There's going to be more changes. I've had chats with a number of folks throughout the district at all levels. And there's going to be a fair amount of exodus from, because of retirement over the next year or two. People are going to move back because of the economy. And of course, time goes by, so all those people are greater as time goes on as well. You can't reverse that. But that's something I think I personally feel is very important for the board to focus on at the highest levels, and for staff to focus on, for our staff to replace them and capture the knowledge that they have.
Yes, definitely so. 4.2, provide a safe, non-hostile, and collegial workplace.
That is sort of just a reordering, but I think a very important message with reordering to bring safety up front. And of course, we've talked about safety officers and things like that. So that's just sort of a re-emphasizing that goal to bring out the safety, bring it higher.
That's what we pulled out of the other one.
Yeah, and there was some consolidation.
And 4.3, recruit and retain a high-performing workforce.
That one was changed to reflect some of the verbiage changes the board directed on the either the value statement or the vision of the district. We made some changes in that statement related to the quality of the workforce, and this was changed to parallel that.
Okay, 4.4, optimize district organizational structure and staffing to improve productivity while achieving the mission.
The change, that's a lot of words.
It is, it's a long.
The change there was again to reflect the district staff will be changing over the next 5-year period. It's really to look at opportunities, not only to replace staff as individual person leaves, but view those, and they're always difficult. You know, we have friends that are leaving, etc. You know, relationships change. But to really view those as opportunities to perhaps look at organizational structures, etc., to streamline the opportunity, the efficiencies of the district as we move forward.
Okay. And then, let's see, 4.5 is existing. 4.6 is foster positive employee-employer relations. That's a best practice.
Yeah, that I don't recall off the top of my head. Okay, Mary, do you recall the nature of that?
The modification.
Don't.
Trying to think about what we did for that one.
I don't recall the nature of that.
Okay, we'll check on that. 4.7, maintain fair and equitable labor agreements.
This was simply changed. The last time we were doing the strategic plan, we were going into
Changing
the
dates.
negotiations. Now the contracts are, they were 5-year contracts. They have about another 3 years and 10 months or so to run. So this is reflecting the fact that, you know, the next round of labor negotiations is pretty far out there in the strategic plan. Hence the word maintain rather than, put in place or negotiate.
And we've also made some changes already to that based on retirement, pension reform.
That's right.
4.8, foster positive employee morale.
I'm not sure where that one changed either.
The wording.
I think it's
Kind
the
of
wording.
reflected that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving right along, table 5. Table 5.
Let me talk about 5 in general. 5, we used to have about 8 or 9 goals in there. We boiled them down to sort of, this is about the way the district runs its business. So we broke them down to 3 goals. Governance, which is what the 5 of you do. Management, which is basically what the folks at this end of the table do. And then administration, which is all the details that go into running the district. So we have a place for everything, but I think we significantly streamlined the way this goal is written. We also, the other thing we did on the governance was bring out, as you recall since the last time, the importance of openness and transparency in the light of Bell and some of the others in California came out. So again, the governance brings out the openness and transparency aspect, which is the televising the board meeting, putting agendas on the website, all that good stuff.
Okay, so on to table 6, partnerships elements. The new one we have is 6.1, identify and implement various coordination activities among Tri-Valley utilities.
As we're pursuing this Tri-Valley utility and integration study, it's actually sort of bifurcated into 2 directions. One is one will be making its way to the board fairly shortly, and perhaps the late summer, early fall of this year, which will be to formalize ways for the agencies to share equipment, services, and staff. That's the word we use for that is the coordination. That will move forward. Everybody's very solidly supportive of that. What we'd like to be able to do is have a framework to be able to do that more, do what we're doing now very informally, but to do that, continue to do that. That's what 6.1 is. That's why it's a new element. 6.2, if I could jump right into that, is just continuing to discuss the Tri-Valley integration effort, which staff has received a draft report on that, and we will be starting to discuss that among the other managers with a rollout to the elected officials in late summer and fall. So that's one.
Okay, and then also the new one is to be a dependable partner to Camp Parks as development occurs.
That one jumped out at me. As you know, you've heard me say that the district is moving from a growth organization to a maintenance organization. I believe that's true. It'll reflect the culture and the type of people we have, as well as the way we go to our business. But when I was talking to the present Lieutenant Colonel James at Camp Parks about this, he goes, "Oh, wait a minute. Camp Parks is really going to be developing a lot. Don't forget us and to be a maintenance organization." I thought, yeah, he's absolutely right. So while in general I think the district has passed the heydays of its growth, there still is a lot to be done on Camp Parks, and they're still a very important customer. So I thought it warrants its own goal.
And then also transition to a contractual recycled water partnership.
Now that the Durla facilities are essentially all built or will be built shortly, and knock on wood, we'll have an agreement with Pleasanton shortly. The purpose for having Durla as a JPA was to make decisions in real time to build a recycled water system, and at some point we'll move ahead. I believe that it's important to start asking, well, whether we can streamline government and go to a contractual relationship under which, we'll just sell the water to the appropriate parties that has been built. So that'll be a long, involved discussion, and I think it's one that we need to open up here in the not-too-distant future.
Yeah, definitely. Maintain positive, 6.5, maintain positive relationships with other public agencies within and adjacent to our service area.
I would combine 6.5 and 6.6 in my comments. This used to have about 5 or 6 different separate goals. It had the school districts, and then it had the fire districts, and then it had the water districts, and then it had so what we did was we sort of looked at those. 6.5 is looking at those that are immediately within our district or immediately adjacent to the unified school district, etc. And working with regional utilities, they're looking a little further afield, like the JPA, perhaps some of the things we do with Central Sand to mutual benefit, etc. So it was just a retooling of the way it was and sort of streamlining down to 2 rather than just 4 or 5 that were there before.
Okay, on to 6.7, work collaboratively with regulatory agencies.
And that one was, the tone on that was changed. I don't think the intent was, before it said something along the lines of collaborate with regulatory agencies, which kind of gave the connotation that the regulators would kind of come to us and we would sit down, and that's not the role of the regulator, but we nevertheless want to work very cooperatively with them. So that was just a tone change in that.
And then 6.8, participate in the activities of industry and professional associations.
And again, that was a consolidation. It used to have CAS, except we have AQUA, except we have CSRMA and water reuse, so that was kind of consolidation there.
Okay. Good. And then now on to table 7, public affairs element. So the 7.1, we serve our customers well.
And again, all 3 of these, just like goal 5, this was a consolidation. There were several goals over here before. What we did, we organized these into 7.1, which is a customer service goal, 7.2, which is really a communications goal, and 7.3, which is really an outreach and educational goal. And you'll see, when you see the work plan tasks, you'll see, conversely, you have fewer goals, which have kind of more work plan tasks per goal, because more things got put under it. But we really didn't lose anything. It was just an attempt to consolidate and streamline a little bit.
Okay. Thank you. And then we also have the attachment 3 to SNR, summary of importance, time frame, and resources. Is there any questions?
This was just a comment on this. This was something that had been important in previous discussions we had with the board, because it really will, start to become real for you in the next couple of weeks when you look at the budget, because accomplishing these goals is not free. It's going to take some resources. So this was an attempt, and if you disagreed with anything we said earlier, I certainly appreciate that input now. But this was an attempt to say, look, some things, just pick one out. Actively managed debt. Well, that's ongoing. We're going to continue doing that. It's very important to the district. I don't think there's any resources associated with doing that. That's just continued staff work. There were $25,000 of resources associated with that. I'm not sure you would want me to put that off for 3 years, that particular So this was just an attempt to identify when things were going to start, about when we were going to finish them. And then the importance, we divided things into 3 categories: best practice, important, and mission critical. And frankly, those were your collective staff's opinions as to where we felt those things fell. Certainly recall.
Okay, good. Any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
The next step on this, as I mentioned, you'll start seeing as committees the strategic work plan. Where eventually we'll roll this up is to June 4th or perhaps June 18th, presentation of the completed strategic plan to the board. That would be the point adopted. If we do our homework right, it will dovetail nicely with the budget. So what you're asking us to do, the strategic plan, and have the resources in the budget.
Okay, good. With that, we will move on to item number 10, board meeting or board member items. We'll start with Rich. Director Halpern. Director Duarte.
Well, during the last week of April, along with Georgina, I attended the CASA conference in Fort Beach. As a first timer, several things popped out at me that I thought was very interesting, educational, and informative. The risk management workshop, which was 4 hours long, Eric and I attended that on Wednesday morning, covered several subject areas, one of them being issues with personnel and issues with the earthquake preparedness and the effect in Northern California, well actually in all of California, would have on our infrastructure. Excellent presentations by the people who made the presentation. But the handout book that they gave was very, very informative and had a lot of good information that I think we should share with the entire board.
Director Duarte, if I could, I'm glad you mentioned that. I misplaced my version of that handout book someplace between the conference here. If you had it, if you could share it with us, so we could have a
very, very, very informative session. Needless to say, the whole purpose of that risk management assessment is that there's just a certain amount of exposure that we have out there, and issues that we have to deal with. So having that kind of an updated educational seminar, I think, is very important, very, very productive. Another area that I thought was interesting, we had a breakout session on Thursday afternoon at the Wildlife Center. For the Urban Wildlife Center.
With Audubon Society.
Yes. I was told that was a new feature of the CASA conference. Then I heard later that some older members said, well, we used to do that way back. The point being, we had breakout sessions with managers, directors, and some of the key comments that came up, one of them being that for a CASA conference, it might be a good idea to have a welcoming session for first-time attendees. I'm glad that Dan and Luann and Herb were there and Georgine, because I didn't know very many people at this workshop. And it was a very, I think, 200 or 300 people there. So that was very helpful. They also had some breakout discussions, which I'm sure Georgina will probably talk about, on wastewater, informing a new board member as to how the wastewater process works. Lastly, I also attended the update of the biosolids organization that we're all talking about and working with Diablo. Caroline is the chair of that currently. So all in all, for me, it was very productive. I was impressed by the fact that if you go and you're going to attend, you're busy from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. It was a very good use of my time, very informative as far as I was concerned.
Sure. I have to say that the breakout sessions that they held on Thursday afternoon were really the best part. Wednesday was sort of, well, Ed was at the CSRMA. I went to the board meeting, and they talked about their budget and where money was going, and the new change in the business structure with having Bobby Larson is now the executive director, and if you recall, she used to be the legislative person, the state legislative person. And so things are going well. They're still struggling over the dollars and how they're all going to make it work. In the meantime, they're going to totally revamp the committees. They think they have far too many, and I would agree. They're going to see if they can, get them down to something that's manageable. I think there's like 30 committees right now. And then in the afternoon, there was the first joint session where we got to hear about all of the different projects that won awards. And of course, Dan and Luann gave a presentation about our chemical consortium and received a lot of positive comments. Obviously, that's why we won the prize. But back to Thursday, Irvine Ranch Water District, I think, has done a really great thing. And they have taken parts of their land up in here and turned it into not only a percolation system for the natural recycling, if you will, of the water, but instead of being sued by the Audubon Society, they're working with the Audubon Society, and they've made this a bird habitat, wetlands, as well as tons of birds. And it's a beautiful sight. You forget that you're around a wastewater treatment plant. You can't, of course, it's not really wastewater, that's their water recycling plant, but you really do not have any idea that that's the kind of facility you're at. They've made great friends with the Audubon Society, and this joint partnerships puts them out in the public, and they bring school kids in to learn about all the different birds that we have on the California coast, which we all know is very special anyway. They bring fifth graders in. But the other thing that I thought was kind of neat is the water district moved 3 of the ranch houses, a 1915, a 1925, and a 1910 house from the ranch that were ranch hand houses, and put them in a little like a compound that is the visitor center and some classrooms and the Audubon Society office, and then they built an additional one for, I can't recall what's in that one, but anyway, it looks just like the other ones. And so it's like kind of like you think of in a compound of ranch houses on a large ranch where maybe the general foreman would be and whatnot. But I just think they've done a more remarkable job. We got talking about this because one of the directors, Pierre Swan, is from Irvine Ranch, and he sat at the table when we were talking about rolling out rates and how do you get good positive feedback and how do you get a good name in the public. And he said this has been one of the best things that they have done, and apparently ran into no problems with moving ranch houses as part of their way of spending wastewater or water, I guess, rates and money. But anyway, it was really fascinating. And then after we did a small little tour, we sat down at these tables, and I attended the Wastewater 101, the primer for a board member. In fact, Luann sat in on that one with me. And there were board members from all over the place, and we just talked about the way we handle the very same problems. The different ways that these large, small districts, country districts, suburban districts handle problems was really amazing. They either did not have them, or they handled them in a unique way that we hadn't necessarily approached before. The other thing that they did, this was fun, this was E.A. Shalaby, is that the way? E.J. Shalaby, from Contra Costa Water?
West Contra Costa Center.
Okay. West Contra Costa Sanitary District. Anyway, he was the team leader here. And of course, this is the cycle of the wastewater. And he gave us little colored cards with different things on them. Grease, toys, different kinds of food, milk. Anyway, and we were supposed to place them on the big one he had on the table in the treatment process where they were cleaned out. And I was so proud of myself. I only missed one. I missed pythroids and insecticides. I didn't know where that came out or if it ever even did, but it turns out it comes out in the digester part of things. So I have to say I learned a little bit about this is a great little handout to learn what parts of the process at the plant does different things and what it takes out. Anyway, I just think it was really a great conference. It was very expensive, I have to say. I'm not sure I would ever want to go to Newport Beach on my own because I unfortunately registered late. I had to stay in another hotel, so I paid $18 a night to park at that hotel, and then in the daytime I drove to the conference hotel and I had to pay $18 for the day to park there. So it was a little frustrating, and for the blue collar person here, it was like shocking. The hotel was really nice, although it somebody said to me, reminds them of the Winchester Mystery House, because it's just added on and it sort of goes around a corner and you're going like this all the time. And of course it was huge and it was miles to walk and all of that fun stuff. But I think we learned quite a bit, actually. And those breakout sessions, everybody commented on how good they were.
Well done. Oh, good. And I was able to attend the Alameda County Board of Supervisors meeting today, and we were proclaiming, they proclaimed May as Water Awareness Month, so I joined Sarah Palmer from Zone 7. Renee was with us today from here, and Doug Lenny from East Bay Mud, and also folks from Alameda County Water, and we were presented with this proclamation. So everyone got one, and I presented all the good things that we've been doing here, the pharmacy program, the excellent, the grants that we did, or not the grants, but the awards we gave tonight. So it was a really good, positive program. Scott was very passionate about it, and the board was really happy. So I'll pass this around for you folks.
I have another comment.
Sure.
I'm sure everybody saw the notice we got in our packet that came from Central Contra Costa Sanitary District, and I just want to get this out in the public domain for our customers, because effective July 1st, their sewer charge is going up to $405 per year. And ours is $360. So just making a point.
All right. Yes, sir.
Also, Monday night after we got back from the beach, Joaquin and I attended a little outreach.
That was my next question. Perfect.
The community,
I was going to say, how's that go?
a community meeting there at the treatment plant, and listened to we could give a presentation on the landscaping project. There were only 7 attendees. There were 7 people from the public side. But it was very well received.
3 of the people that mattered.
Yeah.
Oh, 3 though, okay.
The 3 ladies that have been diehards.
Georgina had, of course, a long history with that movement. But everything I heard was very positive, and they thanked Dave and the district for all the work that has been done. I think I heard the term, we're sure glad it's about to happen,
Yeah.
many times.
I know it's been a long.
I was fascinated by the amount of work that had to go into solving everybody's issues. Zone 7 had to have something that didn't have leaves that fell in their canal, and City of Pleasanton wanted, there was just all these issues that had to be solved, and the poor guy that was doing the landscaping, you know, obviously he was enough of a horticulturist to understand if the tree shed its leaves or had any sap, and they have trees, with one exception, they have trees in there I've never heard of.
But they all agreed on. So,
Oh, that's good, because I know that the trees were a big issue last year.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a major deal. It took them several times, 4 times, to actually get the kinds of trees everybody could agree on.
That was Tanaka, right? Tanaka Design?
yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. He did a nice job with the preliminary last year. That's good. We like to hear those happy neighbors. All right, anything else? Okay. So at this time, the board will be going into closed session for 3 closed session items listed on the agenda. And while this board meeting will continue, this broadcast will be stopped at this time because it is anticipated that there will be no report from closed session. If there is a report from closed session, it will be announced in the open session at the end of this board meeting. If you are interested in what reported out, if any, you may contact the District Secretary, Nancy Hatfield, during regular business hours for the information. The 3 items in closed session tonight are A, conference with real property negotiator pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.8. And then we also have B, conference involving a joint powers agency pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.96, DSRSD EV Mud Recycled Water Authority, aka DERWA. And C is conference with legal counsel anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to paragraph 2 or 3 of subdivision D of Government Code Section 54956.9.
The attendees will be as indicated on the agenda, with the exception of Mr. Requa, who is not here and will Redora be attended. Except that Mr. Requa will not be attending.
Mr. Requa will not be attending, and we hope you have a nice evening.
Yeah.
If you can.
Oh, I meant to thank staff. Darn it.
How did you speak?